welcome on into VG Emporium, video game music and more. I'm your host, Rage Cage, and today I got for you another grab bag. Yep, all kinds of delightful surprises within. I already know what's in there, and you may already as well if you checked out the track list, but hey, still, the idea of getting a nice little bag for only a few bucks and, not knowing what's in there and surprising yourself once you get home, hey, that's always fun. So yeah, this is going to be kind of quick and breezy. As I figured out with these grab bags, it's not about like the prattling on about the details. It's just a fun, freeform way of me sharing just really cool tracks that I found that I couldn't quite fit into other episodes, or even just things I just kind of grab at random on the spot and just shove it in there. But before we get started, I'd like to announce that I am now on YouTube and YouTube Music. Or that is to say, I was already on YouTube, but I was uploading the episodes, just a still image and the audio as a video. And I stopped doing that about episode 48 or so. But with Google Podcast disappearing, I was given the option to give my RSS feed to YouTube to create the podcast channel on there. So you can go to YouTube and check out our podcasts, and it also feeds to YouTube Music. Though the strange thing is that on regular YouTube, it only shows the 100 latest episodes, whereas on YouTube Music, it shows all the episodes, so YouTube Music would be the one to go to if you want to go all the way back to the first episode, the grand opening. And then one last thing, if you haven't done so already, go check out last week's episode where I had St. John of Nerd Noise Radio on, where we talked about our favorite Sega Genesis tracks. And it's kind of a little taster as to a bigger thing we're going to be doing on his podcast, where we're going to be doing a deep dive into just all the different sounds that the Sega Genesis sound chipset can make. When that'll be, I'm not quite sure. I just know it's going to be sometime this year. Alright, so now to get into this bag, you already heard the first item. This is Title from Motor Rotor 2, composed by Koji Hayama. And this here is the PC Engine game, and it's a pretty interesting track because it is one of the few examples of the dual sample playback being used here. So, of course you have the percussion, but then you'll notice at the beginning of the track, there's that guitar riff that happens. And being the nerd I am, I checked out the channel breakdown and I saw that was on channel 5. So, where the bass is playing, at the beginning part, you'll hear the bass play and then you hear the guitar riff and then the bass comes back in and then the guitar riff. So it's kind of going back and forth. And you'll remember me mentioning this if you listen to episode 99, Waves of Wavetables, where this sound chip is capable of, channels 5 and 6 playing samples as well as the noise. And so what this game is a top-down racer. I can't quite tell if they're hovercrafts or actually on wheels, motor rotor thing, I don't know. But the cool thing is it looks like you can customize your racing craft, for lack of a better word. So, as you're winning races, I guess you get different parts that you can enhance your craft with, I guess. Hey, there's cute girls in it, one at the title screen and then one as you get first place after 8 rounds. There you go. And now here's where I would usually talk about the composer and maybe some other details, but nope. This is a grab bag, nice and quick. We're moving on. So let's see here. What's next in this bag here? This is an interesting one. I pulled out Shipwreck Cliff from Legend of Zelda, Faces of Evil, composed by Tony Trippi and William Havlicek. Squadala, puedo. And that was Shipwreck Cliff from Legend of Zelda, Faces of Evil, composed by Tony Trippi and William Havlicek. And yes, this is the CDI Zelda game, along with Wand of Gamelon. Yes, the ones with the really interesting animation and the really questionable acting in it. One of the pillars of YouTube poop. And the gameplay, as far as I understand, is not that great. But one of the surprising things, though, is that the music is actually pretty dang cool. And I will admit, I have been sleeping on them for the longest time. I had no idea what they really sounded like until recently. And yeah, the majority of the soundtracks for both games are just really cool Red Book audio, synth, rock, weirdo jams like this. And part of my awakening to this is because there's a game coming out soon called RZ, The Jewel of Faramore, which is a game being done in the style of the CDI Zeldas. And the development team actually is made up of some of the original staff that worked on those games, including, a couple of the voice actors and animators. But one of the coolest things is that the entire soundtrack is being done by Jake Silverman, also known as Button Masher, all in glorious MT32. And actually, I'm looking into it, and the release date is set for Valentine's of this year. It's only in a week. And so if you have a sweetheart that happens to have a soft heart towards those CDI Zelda games, this might be the perfect gift for them. Or possibly even making a gift to yourself. I may even get this as a gift for myself, mostly because of that soundtrack being done by Jake. And hey, if you're feeling extra special, they're actually doing a thing with limited runs where they're going to be doing a physical release where you can actually get the that really weird, wonky CDI controller. The one that's like a kind of remote that has a circle on the end and it's all wonky and stuff, just for that extra authentic feel of playing a CDI game. All right, enough nonsense. It's time to get back into this bag and see what I got next for you here. And oh, I'm pretty excited to share this one with you. So this is Reflector, the OPN version from Desire, composed by Ryo Umemoto. that was Reflector, the OPN version from Desire, composed by Ryo Umemoto. And yes, this is like candy to my ears. It's just, I mean, listen, like if you're listening to this podcast, then you've definitely gone beyond the bounds of, nostalgic listening and digging deep into just like, all kinds of cool VGM and this stuff right here. This is the gold you find when you really dig deep. And one of the places I go digging is VGM Rips, and there's always new packs being uploaded, and occasionally a new Umemoto thing will come up, and this here's one of them, though it was uploaded originally in 2020 by Malice X. It took me this long to finally come across it, though the version that is uploaded is the FM Towns version using the YM3438, which is a cleaner sounding version of the YM2612, alongside the RF5C68, which is a multi-channel sample chip. But this version was lacking a lot of the nuance that is usually associated with Ryo Umemoto, and that's because it was converted by somebody else to those sound chips. So I decided to go digging for the original PC98 versions, and I found them, both the YM2608 version and the YM2203 version, though, the YM2608 has a lot more sounds going on for it, six FM channels, the 3 SSG, and then all the preset samples, and then the 80 PCM, but then the YM2203 is just the 3 FM and the 3 SSG. And this version right here is what really blew my mind because, again, that's only 3 FM, 3 SSG. But here, Ryo's using that special third channel mode where you can split it into like the 4 separate operators and using it to use as like 2 extra channels. And, being able to have that really fat phasing sound with the first 2 FM channels and then being able to get like just the melodies with that third channel split and then using like the SSG for percussion and chords is just, that's a beautiful combo right there. I love it. My love for the YM2203 is just ever increasing. Actually, that's another thing. When Umemoto's using this sound chip, he's usually using the one of the FM channels for percussion. But this is a rare occasion where he's using the PSG. And to really good effect here. I really like it, and it's inspired me to actually finally dig in and learn how to use that special third channel mode to create something in the style. I've been putting it off far too long, and I think it's just finally time to do it. Possibly for one of my weekly beats. That Ryo Umemoto, ever inspiring. So now this game Desire, as you can probably imagine by that name, it's a eroge visual novel where it takes place on an island called Desire, so you'd imagine, it's a lot of sexy times going on there. And that's about all I know about it, so now we're gonna get back into this grab bag and see what I got next here for you, and... this one's definitely taking me back. So this one is Ascent Floor 3 from Rengoku, The Tower of Purgatory. And it was composed by Makoto Takada, Ryota Fuji, Shohei Oguchi, Tomoyoshi Moriyama, and Yukio Nakajima. and that was Ascent, Floor 3, from Rengoku, the Tower of Purgatory, composed by one or more of those folks I named earlier. I'm not going to name them again because that's way too many names. And I'm just going to clear this up. First thing, no, this is not related to Rengoku, the fire dude from Demon Slayer, I guess, because it's the first thing that comes up when I try to look up this game. So I had to actually put in the Tower of Purgatory to get this game in the search results. So no, not related to Demon Slayer whatsoever. This is before Demon Slayer, actually. Back in, 2005. Yes, this is one of the first games after Luminous that I got for the PSP. And it was the first time, to my knowing, that I encountered a game that used procedural generation for levels. Because how this game worked was that you would proceed up this tower, and each time you would play through, the stages would be a little different, though mostly it was just like an open arena. We would fight another kind of android robot dude or something. I don't quite remember what it is, but, you get this guy, and then you fight other dudes, and you get their parts, and then you can customize your guy. The main thing on one of the covers is like this skull with like a revolver for a face, that kind of shit. It actually reminded me of how Armored Core worked, where you can like customize, have like, all your legs, torso, arms, head, whatever, so you could go be heavy, light, close quarter combat, ranged attacks, what have you. But unfortunately, after playing it a few times, the novelty of it kind of wears off, and it's just kind of a bland game. Very greenish, grayish browns, kind of like thunder pudding green is how my mom would put it. You could probably imagine what that is. But the soundtrack isn't as bland. It's actually a pretty cool mix of, breaks like this, some darker techno, industrial, some acid, as well as some somber orchestral stuff with some electronica and breaks mixed in. And it was pretty perfect at the time because I was starting to really dive into electronic music and all its different variations around this time. So it was definitely feeding that part of me that was starting to wake up. And with that, we're gonna dig right back into this bag. We're starting to get to the bottom here. Gonna have to see. Ooh, there's 2 more left here. Got that one. Okay, so here we go. So what I got here is Beyond the Watery Vortex from Mighty Gunvolt Burst, and this is actually an arrangement of Waterworks Bureau from Mighty Number 9, which was originally composed by Manami Matsumae and arranged by Ryo Kawakami. And that was Beyond the Watery Vortex from Mighty Gunvolt Burst, which was an arrangement of Waterworks Bureau from Mighty Number 9, originally composed by Manami Matsumae and arranged by Ryo Kawakami. And yeah, you heard me right. This is an arrangement of a song from Mighty Number 9, that much maligned Kickstarter project of Keiji Inafune, the one who had originally created Mega Man. The only thing of interest to that game is the soundtrack, being the sound team was made up of those that had composed music for the original Mega Man games, with Manami being one of them, being most well known for her work on Mega Man 2. And the songs that she composed for Mighty Number 9, though I'm not really all that keen on that soundtrack, the way how it sounds, still you can't deny just the strong composition there and hear that Mega Man 2 in there. But here, not only being arranged, but condensed down to the 5 channels of the original NES sound chip, the 2A03, it actually kind of takes on this sound of being like a weird mix of, some Mega Man 2, but mostly Mega Man 4 and 5. That's what I'm hearing. So this is a game that I'm currently playing, on and off. I got it on the Nintendo eShop for only a couple bucks, so, I couldn't pass it up. And from what I've been able to tell so far, this is a sequel to a Mighty Gunvolt, which is a sub-series collaboration between Mighty Number 9 and Azure Striker Gunvolt. I haven't played either of those games. I don't know much about them other than, Mighty Number 9 being, kind of a poopy game made by Keiji Inafune and failing hard, and then Azure Striker Gunvolt being done by Inti Creates and being kind of a crazy Mega Man-like action game. And on top of that, it also features characters from Galgun, which is a weird, rail shooter dating sim, also by Inti Creates. And this game is pretty confusing on what's going on, but it's pretty interesting how it works. Is you got weapon customization as you beat stages and beat bosses. You get all these different additions to different shooting styles, range, duration of the bullets, the size of the bullets, the elements you can use, different special attacks, and you can customize these. And you have all these different slots. You can make all these customized little blocks to switch between. So it's I haven't really dug into it quite yet, but it's intriguing. And so far I've only played as Gunvolt, so it may be different for the other two characters. I don't know. But anyway, it's time to get into this bag again and get the last one out. Stuck under that flap. Yeah, there we go. This here is an odd little nugget. This is Ruins from Virtual Hydlide, composed by Yumi Kinoshita. That was Ruins from Virtual Hydlide, composed by Yumi Kinoshita. And, where those CDI Zelda games are to, the standard Zelda games, this one is to the previous Hydlide games, if that makes sense. Which it probably doesn't, because most folks probably don't know what Virtual Hydlide is. Or even what Hydlide is. Well, a little rundown. Hydlide is a cryptic, top-down adventure RPG type game, think Zelda, but this is before Zelda. And actually, Hydlide is the game that inspired Tower of Duraga, which inspired so many other games. It's just kind of one of those RPG progenitors, if you will. And there's 3 games in the original series, each one kind of building on each other. And this is as far as I'll go. If you'd like to know more, I did a whole episode about Hydlide 3/Super Hydlide, that being episode 45. And if you haven't listened to it yet, definitely go do so, because the, at least Super Hydlide soundtrack is going to blow your mind. But yes, back to the Hydlide games. We got 1, 2, 3, and then for a while there's nothing, and then all of a sudden along comes Virtual Hydlide, which is a weird retelling of the first Hydlide, I guess. But instead of being top-down pixel-based, it is fully 3D polygonal environments on the Sega Saturn, no less, with a third-person over-the-shoulder kind of viewpoint, and it looks very strange. And now here's the kicker. This game is procedurally generated. I guess the developers made 20 different levels for each dungeons. There's 7 dungeons, so each time you play it, you get a different configuration. So that's something interesting now, isn't it? And the main reason why this is on my mind and ended up in the bag is because I've been following Zophar on Twitter. Yes, the same Zophar that runs Zophar Domain. and I've been following his post as he has been on the quest to get the speedrun world record for Super Hydlide, which he did on February 2nd at 24 minutes, 47 seconds, and 668 milliseconds. And with that completed, he's now moving on to Phantasy Star, the original Sega Master System version, so he's gonna need a lot of graph paper. And with that, we are done. There's no more in this bag. Crush! Toss! I'll pick it up later. After I'm done saying thank you again for coming into VG Emporium, video game music and more. And again, if this is your first time in, welcome. And you can find VG Emporium at all your favorite podcatchers, though some of them may not be favorites, such as Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music, Amazon, Audible, as well as on TerraPlayer, which is a hub for all kinds of different video game podcasts, not just VGM. And there is, of course, the website, vgemporium.wordpress.com. And then you can also follow VG Emporium on all the social media, such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I keep forgetting that they're there, but there's also Blue Sky and Mastodon, though I don't really use them all that much. Eventually I may, but I'm still kind of figuring it out, feeling it out. And then something a little different, if you'd like to try it, is the Discord, which you can find the link for it in the show notes as well as on the main website. And is also a great place if you have any feedback or suggestions for the show. And then also there is the special orders, which is, song request, which there is a dedicated channel for that on the Discord, or you can send it to the email, vgemporium@gmail.com, which once I get enough of them, I will do its own dedicated episode. Such fun. And speaking of fun, next week is Valentine's Day, and that is going to be a special episode hosted by Donatello Valentino, which hasn't hosted an episode since the last Valentine's Day episode 2 years ago. So that's going to be interesting, because he gets a little schmaltzy and sentimental sometimes. It can be a little much, but then the following week, something really cool is another guest episode, and this one I'm really excited about because I have a very special guest, Chase Bethia, who's a pretty well-established VGM composer, 13 years strong, and is going to be my first actual VGM composer in the shop, and I'm really excited for all of you to, hear it, so definitely come back and check that one out. And so, I've been your host, Rage Cage, and thank you again for coming into VG Emporium, video game music, and more.